All right, good day, everybody. We're gonna just get some lighting here. There we go. That looks better. See if we can shed some light on some things here. Whoa, we are live. We're working out all the. We're just gonna hold the light here. See how we can get this going. Anyways, my name is Ryan Harris. I am thrilled to be with you. And let me just. There we go. That's good. There we go. Get this light. This little light of mine, we're going to let it shine. So, I am Ryan Harris. We're coming to you live. Would you believe me if I told you Wednesdays? Every week, we are coming up with thought-provoking awareness opportunities to say, hey, what are some of the things that we can do? Let's see if I can get this going a little bit here. What are some of the things that we can do to find more awareness? As to the abundance that awaits us. There's so much abundance out there. It's typically, actually, it's never a money problem. It's never a resources problem. It's never a time problem. It's no problem, man. Everything's all right. So a little Jamaican there. But some of us have a problem with awareness to how we solve certain obstacles, problems, challenges that we might be facing. So today we're here talking about one problem that when John Lennon opened his mouth back in the day, he said that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. And so today we are exploring that he could have been right. He especially from his awareness. And look, he had some controversial comments that initially made it into either a magazine or a newspaper, completely brushed over for a while, and then somebody got hold of it, decided to make it a little bit of a controversy, as they say across the pond. And again, why this matters to you, why we're bringing this up probably about 50 years later. One, because I wasn't born 50 years ago, and the time is now. There's only the eternal now. And why this might be important to you is because, look, you might be having difficulty with a problem that you're faced with, that you're trying to solve. Maybe you've had it for some time now. Or, perhaps you've maybe felt hurt by a relationship that you have, somebody that's very close to you, a loved one. Perhaps it's even just somebody that you work with very closely that, there's a little bit of a conflict. So, look, this is one of those things. Maybe you had a disagreement. I know a lot of the things we're seeing today is difference in perceptions or difference in beliefs, difference in philosophical differences are causing conflicts, are causing people to disconnect and wanting to sever relationships that would otherwise thrive. So. Look, some ones or some things that may have left a hurt in you may have been simply perception related. Either they couldn't share your perception, or it's very, very likely that you were unable to share their perception and couldn't see their truth, and so you started talking at each other instead of talking with each other. So, excuse me. So allow me to share a little bit of some infinite intelligence here. So can you imagine, see what I did there? Imagine John Lennon may actually have been correct. So his point initially was because all throughout the time there was, several newspaper clippings, people were talking about it, where the Church of England and then, other churches were seeing declines in attendance, and it could have been a whole bunch of different reasons. It could have been it could have been their time to evolve the message. Not that anything needed to really change with more so the message, but or the teachings, but more so the delivery. What was done back then probably wouldn't resonate at all with anybody these days. You probably need to send it over social media, Twitter, something of that nature. and Google, YouTube, uh, YouTube Live. And so, in addition to that, not only was that happening, but there was also some challenges that the church was facing. That there was a inherent there's rampant sexual abuse allegations all throughout the church, all throughout the world. And so, these two factors, I don't believe that John Lennon was talking about that specific incident. I think that might have been a little bit more risque than what he had intended. But the other thing is, look, he may have been correct, and actually he might have actually increased attendance in the church just by making these comments. So, church, you're welcome. On behalf of John Lennon, and so, this might have been one of those things that was the rallying cry. You see here a lot of pictures of probably a lot of kids that were, looking to make the newspaper back then. I mean, things back then are probably the same way. Now it's TV or now it's social media. Everybody wants to be the star. And I can't imagine that these kids all had their, protesting hat on. It's like, I can't believe that. I'm sure that there is some parental influence on there. But what they did is, they heard these comments that John Lennon had said, and the church used them likely as a rallying cry, and that's where there's a Beatles boycott for a little bit. You see all these signs here. They were actually burning Beatles records, very much like the music of the times. Every transformational artist or group of artists seems to go through this. NWA was one of them. I love the movie Straight Outta Compton. The line that Eazy-E's character says is like, "They're still buying our records. Like they had to buy them in order to burn them. So I don't see the problem." And that's just making them more famous, more popular. So. Again, that's somewhat what we're looking to achieve here is just not trying to incite a riot, but maybe an incite a riot inside of you that makes you want to think differently, not just think with the group think, what your neighbors think, and the points earlier about all throughout the media, John Lennon and the Beatles are probably being peppered with, the church has seen another decline in attendance. They're trying to find, a way to transform their delivery of the message because, having the people come to you, especially when there is, a chance to have their attention so many other places. It was starting to be that both women and men were in the workforce, and more widespread stuff there, more and more choices of entertainment or the other thing too is maybe that time didn't work for everybody else, but they decided to celebrate their spirituality, celebrate their faith, whatever their faith happened to be. In this case, again, it was specifically the Church of England and Jesus coming under attack. But the other thing that's impactful for this is even aside from that, I actually don't believe that was the bigger number. He might not have even realized this, but he was more correct than he probably even knew. So the Beatles had toured all throughout the world, publicized, in India, China, Japan, as well as, many other locations that aren't necessarily Christian based. And China's got billions and billions of people there. And so again, what he said was quite possibly true. So again, from his perception, and he, didn't even seem to make it from that perception. He didn't, in the end, he did feel some remorse about offending people. Again, certain times where he was seeking to push the status quo. It wasn't this. This was one of those things where he was apologetic about it. He's like, "Look, this was not my intention. I said a comment in passing, and people kind of hooked onto it." And when you think about it, I just mentioned several of the countries out there, and that doesn't even take into consideration the Hindu religions, the Muslims, the Buddhists, and those of the Jewish faith that were also fans. So the fact that John, you might have been even more right than you realized, and even taking aside the declining numbers in in church events and everything like that. So look, the important thing that I want to leave you all with, again, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, join us live every week, and 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Would you believe me if I told you Wednesdays? And as you head out in these next 7 days, I invite you to hold curiosity and hold compassion that for those who might not share that same vision of of your belief or of your perception, regardless of what the subject of that belief or perception is. Know that, and just realize that they might be correct, or they might at least feel that they are. And just because they are right, they are correct, does not make you incorrect. It doesn't make you wrong if somebody else is right. Both of you could be correct, and still, it's a perception problem. It's not an actual problem. So again, resolving conflicts builds bridges, and I invite you to do that. And then, again, if for those of you who are facing this challenge, and you have somewhat of an awareness challenge that you're facing of how you can solve this, I invite you these next 7 days to put on an Einstein-like curiosity and problem solve in his way. And so when he was faced with a problem, let's say that his life depended on it. He would say, look, if my life depended on this problem and I only had 1 hour to solve this problem, what I would do is I would spend the first 55 minutes of that hour ensuring that I had all of the necessary information. I would get curious about the information, and I would formulate the correct question. And once I knew, it would take me about 55 minutes to make sure that I had the correct question. And when I had the correct question, right away, it was something that he could typically solve in less than 5 minutes. So I invite you to look at and how that might apply to your life these next 7 days. And I invite you to subscribe, join us live. Love doing this. Google YouTube Live, and we will see you next Wednesday, 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m., 12:34 p.m. Pacific time, and have a wonderful week, everybody.